In this video, I'll show you how you can store your AI prompts in Airtable and you can use them dynamically then in N8N automations so that you never have to manually update your prompts inside your workflows again. One of the biggest mistakes people make is hard coding their prompts directly into N8N, and this means every time you need to update a prompt, you have to go into the workflow, change it, test it, and hope you don't break anything. So instead, I'm going to show you how you can manage all of your prompts inside Airtable and have N8N automatically pull in the latest version wherever your automation runs. Here's how it works. We're going to set up an Airtable database with system user and assistant prompts, and then we'll create an N8N automation that fetches these prompts dynamically. This way, instead of manually copying and pasting prompts every time, N8N is always going to use the most up-to-date version from Airtable. This is especially useful if you have a prompt that you reuse in multiple places or multiple workflows. You can store it in one place and have it updated every time. All right, so the first thing we're going to want to do is create an Airtable database to store our prompts. So we're going to create a database from scratch, and we're going to call this our prompt database. And let's just give it a nice color because why not? Let's choose this one. We're going to delete all of the fields that are already here. So you can just go ahead and delete anything that's inside here. We are going to keep this field here, the name. This is going to be the name of our prompt, which is a single line text field. We're going to add a system prompt. Let's just call it system. And let's make that a long text. We're going to create a user prompt. And again, it's going to be a long text. Just for completeness, we're going to add an assistant prompt. However, I don't tend to use these myself, but let's add one anyway, just for completeness. Okay, so here you go. So you have a system, user, and assistant prompt. And we can go ahead and delete these entries, and let's create another one from scratch. So essentially, this database now can be used to store all of your different AI prompts. And if you have a prompt that you reuse across multiple workflows or multiple times throughout an automation, you can just store it once inside the database rather than copy pasting the prompt to, multiple different LLMs across your workflow. So let's start with a simple prompt. We're just going to use anything for demonstration purposes. Let's say generate Twitter post, generate Twitter. Let's call it generate Twitter thread. The system prompt is going to have the kind of primary instructions. You are a helpful writing assistant. Your task is to generate a Twitter thread. Follow the guidelines and templates below. And let's just give it a set of guidelines using XML tags. And then let's also just give it a template. Again, this is just for demonstration purposes. I haven't tested this prompt. Okay, so for the template, we're going to have an introduction or a hook. Let's call it hook. Then we're going to have a kind of list of key points. So we're going to say one key point, short summary. And then we're just going to repeat this pattern. Repeat pattern. Repeat pattern for all points. And then finally, we're going to have a CTA repost if you liked this thread. Okay. And then for the guidelines, we're going to say something like, write with simple language. Each tweet should be less than 280 characters. Okay, that's going to do. It's just for demonstration purposes. Okay, and then for the user prompt, we're going to say, generate a tweet about management mistakes that people make. List 7 mistakes in your tweet. Okay, so this is just for demonstration purposes. Let's also put another prompt here as well. So summarize article. You are a helpful writing assistant. You will be given an article Your task is to summarize the article. We're not going to have a user prompt. We'll just inject that inside our inside N8N. Okay, so there we go. So we've got two different prompts. And if we go now into N8N, what we're going to do is we're going to pull, as the first step, we're going to pull those prompts down from Airtable. So let's go into Airtable and we're going to search records because we actually want to pull in all of the different prompts at once. So we're going to use the search operation. We're going to choose our database, which was called prompt database. And the table we had was table 1. Let's quickly fix that because we should probably give it a better name. Let's just rename this table to prompts. Let's save that. I'm just going to exit out of there and try again. Let's choose the prompts database and hopefully this is updated. Yeah, so we're going to select prompts, which is our table. Let's just run that step and see what we get. So it looks like it's pulled in all of the different prompts now from Airtable. So we have a name, we have a system prompt, a user prompt. And again, for this one, we only have the system prompt. Okay, that looks good. And so one of the problems here now is if we want to use this, for example, in an automation, what it's going to do, let me just show you. LLM chain. Okay, we're going to define below. So if we were to just take the output of that Airtable node, we could obviously paste in the user thread, user prompt. If we were to test out what's going to happen is it's going to run twice. So let's connect a model. Let's use Anthropic Claude. I already have my keys set up. And let's just run that. Okay. And so what happened here? Let's have a look. Jason, the text. Okay, because there wasn't. So what happens is this ran twice. And because there wasn't a user prompt here, it's actually running all of our prompts. We definitely don't want it to run all of our prompts. What we want to do is be able to select the specific prompt we want from our database. For example, we probably want to select the generate Twitter thread prompt from our database. So the way we're going to fix this problem is we're going to add a code element here. So what this will do is it'll run some custom code. We can choose JavaScript for this. Let's remove this from the chain. Okay, so the code block is quite powerful. It allows you to take the input here from Airtable. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the input from Airtable and we're going to change it into a different structure. So we're going to turn this into kind of a JSON map, which contains all of the prompts, which we can index then by the key. So let's have a look at how we do that. So I already have a code snippet that we're going to use for this one, and I'll talk you through how it works. So we're going to expand the code snippet. So what we're doing here is we start with an empty JavaScript map, and then we're going to iterate through all of the records from Airtable. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull out the system prompt and we're going to pull out the user prompt. Let's also pull out the assistant prompt while we're here. Items.json assistant. If you remember, the field name we used in Airtable was something different. I think we actually called it system, user, and assistant. So let's go and fix that. So system, user, and assistant. This looks correct to me. This looks like it's complaining about something. Aha, I missed a quote here. So you have to be quite careful with this code block. It's very easy to make mistakes. But essentially what we're doing here is now we're going to essentially add these 3 items to this map. And we're going to add them with the name field. So what we're going to do is we're going to say result name equals these prompts. And then we're just going to return this updated map at the end. So if we run this, it should make more sense. So the output now of this code block is we get essentially a JSON map. And now we can actually index the prompts by key. So what we can do is later on up the chain in our automations, we can reference the code output, which has got all of our prompts in it. And we can say json.twitter, generate Twitter thread.system to get the system prompt or .user to get the user prompt. So we can use this now anywhere throughout our automation, we can use this. So let's again connect up the basic LLM chain. So we can now pipe this into here. And what we can do here now is we can say, we can add a system prompt. And what we're going to do is we're going to reference this specific system prompt here. So we're going to say, let's pull this system prompt in here, and then we're going to use this user prompt here as well. And this should now just do what we expect it to do. Okay, great. So it's generated a Twitter thread, probably not the best Twitter thread in the world, but it's working as expected. And the power of this approach is that now you can use that same prompt in multiple places. If for any reason you had that same prompt, maybe you have an AI agent somewhere. If you're using multiple steps, let's define this below. Again, we're going to say what's the prompt. We're going to add an option, a system message. We're going to add in a. So what we're going to do now, if we want to reference the prompts anywhere, we want to reference our prompts. We can look at this code output, and then we can just pull this in. So maybe we've got a summarization, but let's just reuse this one again. So system message and a user message here. Okay, so now if we were to test this step, we need to add an LLM. I'm going to add Claude, just so this works. So now if we go back and test this AI agent, yeah, what you can see is it's correctly, here's a Twitter thread about management mistakes, working as we expect. And so this is quite powerful now. So we've got the same prompt used in two places within our workflow. And if we want to go and change this prompt now, rather than having to update the prompt in two places, if we wanted to change this prompt, we now have to update it here, and we'd also have to update it here. What we can do is we can just go back to our prompts database here, and we can change the prompt. So just as an example, this is a terrible example, but let's just use it anyway. If we wanted to make that a LinkedIn post, let's say generate a LinkedIn post. The task is to generate a LinkedIn post. Obviously, the name doesn't make sense, but the point here is you can update it once in your database, and now that prompt will be updated both here and it'll be updated here as well. So you don't have to go inside these individual elements inside your workflow and update all of them, which can be quite time consuming and very messy. So let's run that now and see if it works. Okay, so yeah, here we go. So it says, here's a LinkedIn post about management mistakes. So as you can see, we've updated it now in two places. And again, if we look at the output of this AI agent, again, it's updated here as well. So I hope that was useful. This is just a really nice, easy way to keep all of your prompts organized. If you enjoyed this, give the video a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.